I'm Bill Oughton of Oughton Claims Management.
I'm Chantal Roberts of CMR Consulting, and welcome to the Art of Adjusting podcast.
Today, we're going to talk about life as an insurance adjuster from the perspective of property, auto, liability, or workers' compensation adjusters. Our goal is to bring interesting topics in the world of claims adjusting to people who are working as an adjuster now and to people who are considering a career as a claims adjuster. Hey, Chantal, we're in the holiday season, and today we've got a special guest, Donna Meehan. Why don't you go ahead and tell me about Donna?
Donna is a partner at Cosmich, Simmons and Brown in Jackson, Mississippi. She comes from Virginia. She obtained her Bachelor of Science degree, cum laude, from the University of Memphis and her law degree from Mississippi College of Law, again, cum laude. So she's really smart. Much smarter than I am. She's a member of the Mississippi Bar. She practices in the areas of mass and toxic tort litigation, commercial litigation, Mississippi's workers' comp, business litigation, tort and insurance litigation, which is where I know her from. And she is corporate counsel for Santa Claus Inc., I guess. Welcome, Donna.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Are you admitted in the North Pole?
I am admitted in the North Pole, and in fact, I sit on the ethics committee, so there's that.
Perfect.
But I'm really glad to be here so we can clear up some of these allegations against my client, and who's trying to be tried in the court of buyer's remorse or public opinion, if you will. So we're gonna hammer out a little bit more facts and law than we are about rumor and people who didn't quite get their way.
Right. So, full disclosure, I mentioned that I knew Donna from insurance litigation. I've known her for, nearly 20 years or so. And she's an absolutely terrific attorney in the Jackson, Mississippi and North Pole area. I didn't even know that. So Donna and I handled many a claim that went to lawsuit, and Donna was my defense counsel. But like I said, I was very surprised to learn that she was Santa's corporate counsel. And this all started actually because Bill had sent an article to me about these, or I guess a mass lawsuit against Santa.
Well, right. That article mentioned a class action lawsuit filed against Santa for theft, breaking and entering, and destruction of property. And these are pretty serious allegations. And Donna, most people don't realize the difference between robbery, burglary, and theft. Can you kind of explain the differences for folks?
Sure, happy to. So generally, by the time a lawsuit is filed, we're not really talking about insurance, but from an insurance standpoint, robbery would be the unlawful taking of property from the care or custody of a person by someone who, one, has caused or threatens to cause that person bodily harm, or two, has committed an obviously unlawful act that was witnessed by that person. And then we have burglary, which is the unlawful taking of property from inside a premises by a person who unlawfully enters or leaves the premises, as evidenced by marks of forcible entry or exit. And then finally, we have theft, which is a broader term and is the unlawful taking of property to the deprivation of the insured, or in other words, the premises owner. Obviously, none of these apply to my client.
It occurs to me that some of these, you could have, a theft could be a burglary or a robbery, correct? But a burglary couldn't necessarily be a robbery. Is that about right?
I think yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, it sounds to me like that would be it. It would be like theft is the overarching term, and it can be narrowed down, kind of like plant is the overarching term, and then we could go flower or tree or something. I don't know.
So a robbery becomes a burglary if they break and enter. Is that a simplified way to say it?
Well, Bill, in most jurisdictions now, breaking and entering is actually an element of a burglary. So breaking and entering really doesn't stand on its own as, in that criminal element, or even under, a civil litigation type of intentional tort.
It gets muddy, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
So
does. Yeah, definitely.
we've got a threat here from Santa to leave coal to naughty boys and girls. How do you defend that?
Okay, well, first of all, a threat is not a bodily harm, and that's what we're talking about here. Maybe there's a mental distress element, but that's a big maybe, and one of our defenses is that would be self-induced and is completely preventable. Look, it's well known. Santa sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if the kids have been bad or good. So just be good for goodness sakes. For months and months, the children are told they better watch out. They better not cry. They don't pout because he's coming. And then finally, Bill, in our defense, we believe that children have the last clear chance to avoid any of the cold or the threats. All they have to do is to leave the cookies and the milk.
Okay, so I mean, Donna, to Bill's point, though, I mean, what about the kid who saw mommy kissing Santa Claus? I mean, surely that is like a quote unquote unlawful taking of a child's innocence.
Well,
Was that a snort, Bill? I mean, come on. I mean, to your point.
I have a question. Isn't Santa conducting unlawful surveillance here? I mean, constantly watching these kids. It's kind of creepy, isn't it?
Would that be an invasion of privacy? I mean, I know that's not in the lawsuit. We shouldn't give the plaintiff attorney any fodder is actually what we do.
I mean, you dress somebody as an elf and all of a sudden they can spy on people. I just don't like it.
Well, okay, so then should we get a product liability attorney in here and start talking about products liability with elf on the shelf? Because then, I mean, isn't that Santa's spy? The elf?
That's right.
I mean,
that's right.
I mean,
we get a lot of news stories about people planting cameras and stuff here, and it's not very good. But that I would see that as an element that Santa would have to speak for.
Well, yeah, but it's not in the lawsuit. So, I mean, we shouldn't give this plaintiff attorney any kind of fodder or what have you. But anyway, Donna,
hey,
we're just spitballing here, man.
Well, this is true. We are.
Well, true. But, like Chantal mentioned, that particular element is not before the court. And I think the record evidence, should we have to defend such an absurd claim, will show that there are notes that are left by particular homeowners or, the premises owner asking to convey particular messages to Santa on behalf of that household. So maybe it's like a little conspiracy. If nothing else, they're complicit in the watching and monitoring.
It's not surveillance, it's a conversation.
Well, yeah, because I mean, think about the lines that are at the shopping centers where, kids are lining up to sit on Santa's lap and tell Santa what they want. I mean, obviously that's not surveillance. Santa would know this. I mean, they're going up to Santa themselves.
So who's going to tell me about Krampus?
Well, you know what? I learned about Krampus from my husband, because I never knew about Krampus. And it would seem to me, Donna, and I might kick this over to you. It would seem to me that, and I want to talk about this a little bit later, but this whole leaving coal or destruction of property thing that's also mentioned in the lawsuit might be the Krampus, because apparently he's the one who A, eats children, and then B, maybe leaves coal or whatever. And so if he's leaving coal, that would explain the soot on the carpet. which I think is part of the allegation, you know, the destruction of property or something like that.
Well, unfortunately for plaintiffs, or maybe fortunately for Santa Claus Inc. and North Pole Inc., that Krampus is not a party to this lawsuit. So 100% we have an empty chair scenario. At the same time, they all have to be proven by the plaintiff. Going back to Bill's question about, you know, stealing a child's innocence and, you know, mommy kissing Santa Claus. Hey, that child should have been in bed. Everyone knows the child should have been in bed. The mother didn't see the child creep down the stairs to have a peep. She thought the child was all tucked up in the bedroom, fast asleep. Further, it appears that the mother was maybe the aggressor, not Santa trying to steal anything, because the evidence will further show that mommy tickled Santa Claus underneath his beard snowy white. So we believe we have an absolute defense on this particular allegation that Santa has somehow stolen a child's innocence.
I mean, yeah, I can hear your point, because it sounds like obviously we've got a mother who is not going to win Mother of the Year award. We had mentioned breaking and entering, and you said that it was maybe part of burglary or whatever, and maybe it's not such a big deal anymore. I quite frankly don't understand how breaking and entering would be part of this lawsuit, because when I was adjusting claims, we were always looking for physical evidence of break-in, you know, like a door busted in, windows broken, you know, all of this kind of stuff. And if and when Santa comes in, you know, it's via the chimney, should you have one. But most of these people in this lawsuit are saying, well, we don't have chimneys, like I didn't in the South. You probably don't in Mississippi. I guess that's why they're saying quote unquote broken, you know, entry, blah, blah, blah. How help us out here, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, the law differs in various states. And importantly, depending on what jurisdiction we're at, will depend on how we apply certain elements. First and foremost, there's been no service on Santa Claus or the North Pole. No one has ever seen the guy. So, except for this kid who claims he saw mommy kissing Santa Claus.
What about the guy who he and his wife in the kerchief thing, that guy, you know, 8 little reindeer on the roof. Do you remember that?
We look forward to defending such claims as
All right.
that.
Okay, counselor. Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I interrupted.
I think there was a claim for damaged shingles from the sleigh and the reindeer up there.
See, that's what I'm saying. But anyway, that subrogation claim probably, but that's
yeah.
a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. Depending on where you are, you know, there are states that, you know, you can go in through the window and you can go through the door, and that evidence will create a prima facie case if you can prove that. The argument about going down the chimney, the law pretty much holds that a chimney is as closed as it can get. So any type of defense that the window was left open or the door was left unlocked may win the day there. But if we're talking about a chimney, pretty much across the board, the law says that the chimney is as closed as it can go. So even if it's open, as the argument goes, and I'm just anticipating what the plaintiff will say, then there you have it. Maybe you win that argument, but he's invited. It's by consent. My assistant is putting together hundreds and thousands of letters from all these residents whose parents are now making claims. Come and see me. Little Johnny wants a tricycle. Susie wants a doll. They're inviting him to come in. So we believe that will probably be a complete defense to any type of argument or claim. And we're ready to start backing up the trucks and bringing in Exhibit A.
No, that's a very good point, Donna. You are using the Miracle on 34th Street defense, where the attorney was proving that the Kris Kringle was actually Santa Claus, and that the federal government recognized Kris Kringle as Santa Claus. If you've seen the movie, he brought in all these letters addressed to Kris Kringle, Santa Claus, yada, yada, yada. And the court, which was up in New York, had to rule. I'm probably a 1940-ish law. I bet this is what you're looking at, Donna. It had to rule that Kris Kringle was Santa Claus because the federal government, being the U.S. Post Office, believed that he was Santa Claus. So I'm sure that's what you're using.
That's a very good point. At our post office right here, we have a special box for letters to Santa. Therefore, the federal government recognizes Santa's existence.
You know, that's all I'm saying.
And they recognize that he receives invitations to come to people's homes.
Yeah. So it makes me wonder how this plaintiff attorney is like putting this lawsuit together. But I mean, I guess it's maybe more of a publicity stunt than what have you.
You know, going back to the Krampus, Santa and the North Pole denounce any relationship to the Krampus, maybe an imposter, maybe somebody. You remember Jack Frost one year tried to be a stand-in for Santa and caused all kinds of mayhem at the North Pole and threatened the gifts. So maybe that would be how all of this came to be. Maybe Krampus and his people have stirred this to try to give Santa a bad name. We just don't know. That's going to be for the jury to decide.
Well, I have not become a party to this class action lawsuit, but last year I had some cookies set out, and when I came down in the morning, they were gone. Do I have a claim for theft?
Hey, Bill.
I think you're asking the wrong person, Bill.
The tone of your response so far is impeccable. Bill, you know.
I think your wife uses that tone with you.
Yes.
Quite
Yes.
often.
Yes.
Did you make cookies and then put them on a plate and then leave them by the Christmas tree?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
But my wife made them. I didn't make them. They were made for me.
But your wife didn't put them on a counter for you. She put them by a tree that you hauled into the house. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Fine.
There was a beverage beside those cookies, correct?
There was a glass of milk, as I recall, and that was empty too.
And do you know what time it was left out under the tree?
I usually go to bed at 7:30 p.m., so it was around that time.
God, you're
And
old.
your intent was to drink the milk and the cookies when? 12 hours later? 10 hours later?
Wouldn't that milk be bad? Anyway, I'm sorry, Donna, go ahead. I'm enjoying this this cross reference or this cross deposition, you know, testimony thing going.
Well, I think to able to get all the facts, we're going to need Bill to answer the question.
Well, in truth, it may not have been milk. It may have been something that may have been distilled. I don't know. Either way, I want my cookies back.
We believe that claim of theft is at the most petty theft, but we also are prepared to prove that those were left for Santa in conjunction with the invitation for him to come to the home in exchange for presents and holiday cheer.
Case closed.
Oh, so it's kind of a little quid pro quo kind of deal.
Maybe Bill's mad because he wasn't as good as he should have been for the year before, and he thought he left out premium cookies and he got a regular gift.
Don't make this about me now.
That's where we're going.
Will, okay.
So
Okay. Oh, we'll change topics then is what we'll do. We'll change topics. All right. So I read the lawsuit and the article did mention that there was like a $1.5 million demand for restoration and cleaning because, you know, the plaintiffs are alleging that Santa had ground soot because he comes from the chimney or whatever, into their carpets and rugs. How do we even prove this? I mean, I'm sitting here thinking like a claims adjuster. I don't even know how we would prove it. I don't want you to have to give us your defense away because maybe the plaintiff attorney will be listening to this podcast. But I mean, how do y'all respond?
First of all, we believe it's alleged damage. We don't have that. Secondly, no one's ever seen Santa Claus. So the plaintiff bears the burden of proof in order to show that it was Santa Claus that allegedly caused this damage to the carpeting and the rugs, and further that such damage is worthy of 1.5 million. We have no idea what the value of the carpet or rugs is in order to justify such a demand. And moreover, we have no idea what the condition of the carpet and the rugs were before the alleged damage. We're talking about a population of people that are hauling trees into their homes. We have no idea what else they hauled in there. And now they want to shift the blame to Santa Claus. And again, we go back to what we previously talked about. No one has ever seen my client. We don't have service of process. So he's not properly before any court as of this point. And for the $1.5 million, I know it sounds shocking, but anybody can file a lawsuit.
This is very true. I mean, you got a good point. And I think in a lot of homeowner policies, they'll say, well, carpeting would be at ACV. So that would have to be a whole heck of a lot of people to get 1.5 million in restoration.
Hey, so we're running out of time. This is something we can't figure out within the time we have allotted here. But thank you, Donna, for educating us on the law when it comes to this remarkable class action lawsuit.
I just want to say, Chantal, it's always fun to catch up with you. I'm going to show you this really quick. I went to, Bill, you don't know this maybe, but I went to London. Chantal took me to London, and I took my dad when we were working together. And this is, I don't know if you can see it very well.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The painting that my dad and I had done right on the street as we were walking. So I always have wonderful memories of Chantal and working with her. I always prided myself on the fact that Chantal used to say, if anyone can find dirt on the Pope, it's Donna Meehan. And so,
Absolutely.
I wear that badge.
Let me tell you guys, hire Donna. She is the best, and she can find dirt on the Pope. I guarantee it. I put my name on that. Dollars to donuts. Donna, do you have anything that you want to let viewers and listeners know about?
No, I really don't. And I know this may sound odd, but my love is the law. My love is just finding justice. If my client is wrong, then let's resolve it. But if my client is right and being falsely accused of something, then let's fight it, because if we don't fight it, there's a lot of people that will continue to bring in, meritless lawsuits. And I know there's a lot of attorneys that get out there and they market and everything else. But my first love and my only love is the law and making things right. My second one is spending time with my 16-year-old on the ball fields. That occupies my time in my life, and I don't, but I'm always here. Catch me in the baseball stands and I can talk to you about your case as if I was sitting here looking at a pile of notes.
Donna, thank you so much. Do you have anything coming up? Any speaking gigs, blogs, posts, anything like that? How can they reach you?
I can be reached on my direct line at Cosmich, Simmons and Brown, 601-519-0324. And as long as you're not trying to sell me home insurance or buy my home or upgrade something, my cell phone, I'm always available on my cell phone at 601-668-6076.
Great. We'll put that information in the show notes too.
Yeah. And, products liability, premises liability, that's my passion. That's what I love. I hear commercials and it makes me so sad that certain plaintiffs' firms are spouting things out. And I think it hurts the economy and how we do business. I think the law has to win here.
Yeah, we could do a whole podcast about the plaintiff attorney culture, especially up here in New York. It is strange to see. Fortunately or unfortunately, it keeps people like me busy. So
I want to tell everybody, be sure to like and comment, because it does help the algorithm pick it up. our podcast up, give it out to other people. So do that. And Donna, again, thank you. It was so great catching up with you, and good luck with the lawsuit representing Santa. I know he's in good hands. I know
Feel
he's in
very
good hands.
Free Santa.
Yes. Free Santa. Woo!
We are confident he'll be spurling around in about 10 days.
Perfect. Awesome.
Fantastic. All right.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
guys. I
Thank
sure
you. Thanks for joining us on the Art of Adjusting podcast, where we talk about life as an insurance adjuster.
If you enjoyed this podcast or this episode, please give us 5 stars and a review. It does help the algorithm pick us up.
Hit that subscribe button real quick and tell all of your adjuster friends to check this out as well. For independent adjusting services, go to www.auton.claims. And for anyone interested in working as an independent liability adjuster, go to the Contact Us tab to join our roster.
In the meantime, you can contact me at theartofadjusting.com for consulting and training purposes.